Is a young fashion designer who is an inspiration to many young girls. She has an amazing talent for using her imagination and creativity to create the most attractive outfits for teenage girls. In addition to her work, she has fallen deeply in love with a boy named Karn. Karn belongs to a wealthy family, but he works hard to earn his bread and butter. Despite their different backgrounds, and Karn are madly in love with each other and are known as a perfect match by the people in their community. Little do they know that their lives are about to take a surprising turn. Karn invites to his home and introduces her to his family. Unfortunately, Karn's parents have passed away, and now his family consists of his elder sister Kun, his brother Korn, and Korn's wife Sita. And Sita get familiar with each other and become good friends, which pleases Karn as is getting adjusted to his family. Promises Sita that she will make an incredible red dress for Sita for the wedding, and everyone will love it. Additionally, Karn arranges a party for his wedding and invites dozens of famous people, and among them is a wealthy minister. The minister comes on stage to wish congratulations to the newly married couple, but something strange happens immediately. Starts to feel exhausted and walks back to the lounge to take a rest. While resting, she suddenly hears the sound of something falling. She walks towards the area from where she heard the sound. She sees the wedding photo frame of Korn and Sita on the ground and immediately fixes it back on the wall. Turns back and hears a strange sound again, this time coming from the room in front of her. She gets a little frightened, but out of curiosity, she enters the room, which she shouldn't have. As hears the strange sound, her curiosity takes her toward the washroom. Upon entering, she is taken aback with shock when she spots Sita's wedding ring lying on the floor. Confusion crosses her mind, because finding the ring in such an unusual place raises dozens of questions. Something horrifying unfolds as feels a dark, shadowy presence behind her. Out of nowhere, Sita's lifeless body comes down, landing right next to her. The shock and fear grip tightly, causing her to stumble and hit her head. The sight of her friend's body in front of her is utterly traumatic, leaving her overwhelmed with terror. Hallucinations begin to trouble her as she feels Sita's face slowly turning towards her. This disturbing experience leaves a deep mark on mind, creating a memory she will not be able to forget. Karn sees the traumatic condition of his wife, which is very hard for him to absorb. He gives her love and spends time with her so that she can improve her condition. Unfortunately, Karn and his siblings also need to take care of their family business, which their father set up with great hard work. Sadly, the business is facing loss and is now half the size compared to when it started. Kun decides that she will sell all of the assets of the business to pay the debts, but Wang, a loyal business secretary, suggests that the siblings should hold a meeting with the minister, as the minister is powerful and can give them multiple projects. But there's one big hurdle. The minister is very greedy and asks for many favors. Korn is against this and reacts wildly. He says that his sister should not meet him, but Karn convinces him and says he will also negotiate with the minister. Karn goes to his wife and spends some time with her. He shares the details of the meeting, which deeply upsets her. She doesn't want Karn to leave her, especially during these challenging times. Karn himself personally doesn't want to leave his wife in this condition. However, Karn has committed to attend the meeting, so he reluctantly departs. Meanwhile, finds herself alone in the house when frightening occurrences begin to unfold. The stitching machines start operating on their own, leaving confused. As she tries to make sense of the situation, the lights suddenly go out, increasing her fear. Seeking peace, opens her cupboard and discovers a copy of the dress she stitched for Sita. Caught in thought, she thinks over what to do with the dress, but before she can decide, it mysteriously disappears from her cupboard. A wave of terror courses through veins as she witnesses Sita appearing before her in the same dress. Overwhelmed by fear, loses consciousness. Finds herself in Sita's office and sees Sita everywhere around her. She tries to get out of that room, but something keeps dragging her again and again toward it. Feels suffocated as something is grabbing her by her throat, and someone is dragging her by rope. Luckily, Kun finds her as she happened to be working late at the factory at the time. Kun is shocked to see there. Isn't in the condition to answer any question, and she faints. Karn, in a state of worry, checks the CCTV with his sister, where they see that isn't walking the way she usually does. She is walking like a magnet being attracted to steel. This condition of troubles Karn. He picks her up, and just as he's about to leave and take her to the hospital, Kun reminds Karn about the meeting. The meeting is about to take place in a few minutes. Karn, with a heavy heart, leaves at his home, with instructions to Wang to take good care of his wife. With the other siblings, he leaves for the meeting with the minister. But Wang does an unusual thing. She calls her spiritual priest and starts to talk about Sita. Wang's unusual tactic surprises Meanwhile, at the minister's house, the family gathers for dinner. Karn, feeling an urgency to return home quickly, is in a hurry and engages in swift negotiations with the minister. However, to everyone's shock, walks into the room wearing the same red dress she stitched for Sita. She remains silent, her gaze fixed on the minister, her red dress showcasing an attractive allure. The minister's face lights up with satisfaction, and a sinister smile spreads across his face. Turning his attention to Kun, he poses a perplexing question that leaves Karn puzzled. The minister asks Kun if there is another surprise, stirring curiosity about what the first surprise was. Karn's behavior becomes slightly odd as he observes catching glimpses of Sita's reflection in her eyes. He urges Karn to escort home, but before they can leave, a shocking incident unfolds. Om's demeanor undergoes a drastic transformation as she experiences sudden attacks, and with a surge of anger, she lunges at the minister, forcefully knocking him to the ground. In self-defense, the minister presses his burning hot cigar against Om's hand, yet she persists, relentlessly attacking him. It becomes evident that some extraordinary power has taken control of her. Om is rushed to the hospital, and during their journey, she confides in Karen, revealing that Sita's spirit has possessed her, manipulating her actions. Kun and Wang, too, begin to suspect that Om is under the influence of Sita's soul. The priest consulted by Wang asserts that Sita's spirit cannot find peace until it has sought revenge. Emotions run high as the uncertainty and apprehension of the situation grip everyone present. Om is taken for some tests. While doing tests, Om sees the spirit of Sita. Karen believes that Om is suffering from some mental disorder and would be fine as time passes by. But the situation, in reality, is completely different. Karn sits by her and talks to her, but he notices that she isn't the same as before. He talks to her, but Om stays as silent as a rock and doesn't speak a single word. Suddenly, Om's behavior changes, and she gets aggressive and starts to walk away. Karn tries to stop her, but she hurts her too. Her body is in the control of Sita, and Sita is planning to do something violent. She sees reflections of Sita instead of herself. She locks Karn inside a room and gets on her way to where Sita wants to take her. However, Karn manages to break free. As he catches his breath, his eyes widen in realization. The scar from the burning cigar on Om's hand matches the scar he remembers seeing on Sita's belly. A profound connection begins to form in his mind, leaving him both startled and intrigued. Without wasting a moment, he dials Karn's number to share this vital revelation, hoping to uncover the truth behind the mysterious link between Sita and Om. On the other end of the line, Karn and Kun find themselves in a desperate situation. Their business is on the verge of collapse after a disastrous meeting, and in a desperate attempt to salvage it, they have arranged a meeting with the manipulative and greedy minister. However, the minister is not only driven by greed, but is also known for his indulgent and pleasure-seeking nature. To please him and secure their business, Kun has made the painful decision to offer herself as a willing to endure whatever may come. Mixed emotions swirl within Karn's heart as he contemplates the weight of this. Concern for Kun's safety battles with the desperate need to save their business and secure their livelihood. The atmosphere is heavy with uncertainty and fear as they brace themselves for the encounter, unsure of what sacrifices they may be forced to make in the process. That greedy minister will first meet with Karn in order to discuss the negotiations, and after the negotiations are done, to satisfy other needs, the minister will meet Kun in another room personally. Karn gets to know about a very interesting secret. Before Karn's wedding, Karn and Kun had done a deal with this same minister, and Sita had gone to this minister to deliver the money, and after that, Sita's body was found. Karn knows this minister has a link, or knows how Sita passed away, therefore he confronts him. But this greedy man, instead of telling the real story, starts to blame Karn and his family. He reveals something that stuns Karn, and also opens his family's dirty politic. The rapacious man brags that Sita was offered to him for his pleasures, and he just accepted her. He also reveals that Kun said that she would come, but instead she sent Sita, which is why it was a surprise for him. He also says that after seeing Om in that dress, he thought Kun would now offer Om to him. These revelations are painful for Karn to hear. The true face of his siblings is revealed, and he immediately calls Kun and says he wants to meet her. But Kun finds herself trapped in yet another paranormal problem. As she steps into the room the minister reserved for her, she is startled to see Sita's reflection, which suddenly springs to life and launches a vicious attack. Sita's ethereal form grips Kun's throat, tightening its grip, while menacingly knotting a rope around her neck. Helplessly, Kun is dragged toward the elevator. Her desperate screams echo through the corridor. Wang and Karn, alarmed by their sister's cries, rush towards her room only to find it empty. Their eyes frantically search for any trace of Kun and, to their horror, they spot her inside the elevator. Racing against time, they make a desperate attempt to reach the descending elevator, desperately attempting to help Kun. However, their efforts prove futile as the elevator doors seal shut before their eyes, mercilessly separating them from their sister. Overwhelmed with anguish, they can only watch helplessly as the elevator descends. As the elevator finally reaches the ground floor, the doors swing open, revealing the lifeless body of Kun, her neck bound by the chilling rope. Shock courses through the veins of the grieving brothers, their hearts shattered by this devastating loss. Questions swirl in their minds as they grapple with the grim reality before them. Who could have perpetrated such a heinous act, robbing them of their beloved sister? Amidst the numbing grief, they tenderly place Kun's lifeless form into the trunk of their car. Amid this heartbreaking task, an unforeseen and horrifying turn of events unfolds. The body of the minister hurtles down from the building, crashing to the ground. His life abruptly ended by an unknown assailant. Trembling with fear, Karn raises his gaze to the towering structure above, catching a fleeting glimpse of Om. The pieces of the puzzle begin to fall into place, and a chilling realization dawns upon Karn. Sita's vengeful spirit has indeed possessed their dear Om, relentlessly exacting revenge upon them. Emotions of fear, grief, and dread intertwine within Karn's heart as he confronts the dreadful truth that his family is entangled in a web of supernatural forces beyond their comprehension. The brothers reach the factory, trembling, and tell the whole situation to Wang. Wong contacts her priest. And meanwhile, the brothers wrap up the body in plastic and carefully pack it inside a grave-type locker on the side of the factory. They hide the body secretly, as they don't want any police investigation and don't want their reputations to be destroyed. Karn gets to know that Sita wasn't happy with this conspiracy and was very upset with her husband for not taking any action. She also complained to Kun about this, but she ignored it. The helpless behavior of Korn and Kun angered Sita, and she decided that she would reveal the true colors of the minister in the wedding ceremony. Upon hearing this, the minister grabbed Sita by her hair and tossed and hit her, causing her to perish. Korn decided to take a step, but the minister pulled out his gun and held Korn hostage, saying if anyone learned about this, he would murder the entire family. This is why Korn hid Sita's body, so that he could show it as. Wong's priest explains that Sita knows all about this. She is unhappy with the behavior of Kun and Korn staying silent, and now will exact revenge. And the only way to stop Sita is by performing an exorcism on Om. But Sita won't let this happen. Karn sets out on a mission to find Om, and eventually discovers her huddled in a dark corner of the factory, with tears streaming down her face. He approaches her gently, attempting to calm her troubled spirit. However, Om succumbs once again to the debilitating attacks that have plagued her. Her demeanor shifts, and with a resolute purpose, she starts making her way toward Wong and Korn. Karn swiftly informs Korn about the impending danger, but unbeknownst to Karn, Korn silently retrieves his gun, preparing for a confrontation. In a sudden twist, the lights in the factory go out, shrouding everything in darkness. In the dimness, Korn witnesses a horrifying sight. Om scuttles along the walls like a reptile, with her movements looking eerie and unnatural. Karn realizes that Om is now targeting Wong, but the reason behind it eludes him. He implores Wong for answers, and in a moment of truth, Wong confesses grave transgressions. Wong reveals that Sita was not a blood relation to their family, but rather Kun's daughter, whom she had cared for and nurtured. It was Wong who advised Kun to send Sita in her place to the minister, an act that now drives Sita's vengeful desire for Wong's blood. The weight of guilt hangs heavy in the air as the truth unfurls. Meanwhile, outside, Korn finds himself surrounded by the haunting apparitions of Sita's face, unsettling his senses. He instinctively turns towards the location where Karn and Wong were conversing, raising his gun in a moment of panic. His finger tightens on the trigger, but instead of Om, the bullet finds its mark on Wong, instantly snuffing out her life. Korn is consumed by as the hallucinations of Sita's body manifest everywhere he looks. Unbeknownst to him, Om, cloaked in darkness, lurks just behind him, seizing him with her supernatural strength. Karn, desperate to save his brother, lunges forward, striking Om forcefully with a wooden plank. However, Om retaliates, hurling Karn down into the basement. From the depths, he can only listen in anguish as Korn's agonizing screams reverberate through the air. The rope that once ended Korn's wife's life now encircles his neck in a chilling parallel. When Karn finally climbs from the depths of the basement, he discovers the lifeless body of his brother, Korn, and an unconscious Om nearby. Overwhelmed by grief and sorrow, he mourns the loss of his sibling, his heart heavy with indescribable pain. Karn sits there for hours in grief. He has lost his siblings. He then gathers courage and wraps the bodies of Wong and Korn, placing them in other grave-like cabins. But after a few moments, Korn's sense comes back. He's alive, but he is in the cabin, and no one can hear him as he screams for help. As no one responds, he eventually passes away. He had done the same with Sita, and while she was alive, but Korn ignored her pleas and let her die. Om now gets back to normal. Sita has left her body. For a few days, she stays in the hospital, and after that, she returns to Karn. Karn now has no one except Om, therefore he loves her even more now. He continues his job, and Om continues her fashion designing job. The factory is taken over and closed forever, hence putting an end to the dark secrets of this family.